SPCA Chief Inspector Andries Venter has assembled a hand-picked team of inspectors for a confidential briefing.
He's got drugs in his house, he's treating animals, and he's got animals that had died on his property as a result of wrong treatment.
Venter's received a tip-off that a man is prescribing drugs and performing surgery on animals. The man's not a qualified vet and has only worked as an animal welfare assistant.
I don't know what we're going to find. I don't know how many animals we're going to find, but we're concentrating on the drugs first this time.
Venter intends to act quickly. They'll raid the property this morning, and he's asked the police to help them.
I don't know if he's got guns on the property. I will speak to the police that they at least give us one person per team. I've got bulletproof vests. Please watch each other's back. We have been getting trickle information from time to time that he is operating illegally. So hopefully we can put a stop to it for once and for all. We don't know who the suspect is linked to or what his operation entails. So we're taking all the necessary precautions to ensure that we're not placed in any danger. Just want to find the property. There it is. So guys, we're moving in.
The property's out on the very edge of Cape Town, down a dirt track and well away from prying eyes.
I need the police to come past me quickly. Hello? Is they dark? Okay. He is apparently in. You can go straight in. Hey, bly hierso. We're just moving in with a warrant. Just stand by.
The man's home. Venter and the police officers move in.
Juliet and Kira, drive in. Excuse? Yeah.
They begin to search the house for drugs, for animals, for any evidence of illegal activity. It's not long before Venter makes his first discovery.
Quite a bit of inoculations, rabies inoculations.
Outside, senior inspectors James Murphy and Barbara McLucky are combing through the fire pit. The informant had told Venter that animals had died during surgery and their bodies were burnt.
There is like lots of bones here, but nothing. They all look big, so I presume it's just the cattle bones that they buy for the dogs to chew.
In amongst the ashen bones, Murphy finds more evidence of suspected illegal drugs.
So far found 3 bottles. There's another one.
Where's
right
that
there.
bottle? Where?
These are bottles that...
Could be vaccine.
Vaccine bottles or some sort of drug is in here.
And there are more drugs in the bathroom.
We found surgical spirits, a Sandoz diclofenac, which is a scheduled medicine. He claims that he's getting it from his girlfriend, and it looks like his girlfriend may be working for a children's hospital or hospice some sort.
We're just busy checking all the anything fridge and freezers and that, just to see if we can find any meds or anything suspicious.
Hey. Find this wheelbarrow. It's a dog that they've got in a wheelbarrow. It looks like they're prepping it for surgery.
You can take a diary.
Your diary. We found his appointment diaries, so we'll go through that to see what he's been up to.
It's a serious issue because the guy is treating animals and he's not authorized as per law to do it. I mean, a vet studies for many years to be able to do that, and if every Tom, Dick and Harry can just pull out a scalpel and a forceps and just operate on animals, you know, there'll be a lot more suffering.
We've had dogs dying. We've had dogs coming into our vets that have had bad reactions to the treatments that he's given. So he's perpetuated the suffering and the cruelty to those animals.
I'm quite horrified that there's all these bones lying around, there's flies everywhere, there's poo everywhere. Yeah, just the general conditions, yeah, If we hadn't come now, we probably, probably would have been a lot more suffering.
Now, hidden under a table, Venter seems to have found the man's main store.
We've discovered a box of tricks that contains all kinds of drugs. 4A65.
These drugs aren't available over the counter. They're only supposed to be used by qualified vets. Some are out of date, and the man will have to explain how he came to have them and whether they were stolen.
The equipment in this box could be used for any sort of surgery.
Surgery is also no job for amateurs. Venter and the police inspector have seen enough.
You are under arrest.
The man will be spending time in jail before his case is heard. The inspectors have to make sure his animals will be safe while he's away.
Until a decision's made on what's going to happen with the gentleman, we have to take the animals into our custody to ensure that they're fed and watered. We've got pigeons, and there's runners there, and there's chickens, and there's dogs, and there's horses as well. This is like unhygienic conditions that the animals have been kept in. There's like feces all over the show. It's like piled up and it's probably like just hard.
The inspectors and the police have been searching the property for 3 hours to ensure they've found every piece of evidence.
There's a dog skull there. Weird stuff went on here. It might take some time to uncover more. He claims that he's helping other people that the animal welfare organizations are not helping. He's well aware of where our mobile clinics are operating. We're operating right through Cape Town, not only ourselves, Animal Rescue Organization, Animal Welfare Society. So there's no excuse for him to use that.
The searches have thrown up other possible leads.
We found details and information of guys involved in other illegal veterinary operations as well as pit bull fighting and organizing. This is tireless work. I don't know if we're ever going to find the end tale of the story.
Senior Inspector Kira Joshua has received a disturbing report. She's been told a dog is dying in a backyard in Ocean View. Kira's brought trainee inspector Adiba Renze with her.
Hello? It doesn't seem like the people's home now. So I'm just going to see if the neighbors know where they are. Right. We've got a complaint about the people next door here. But a dog that's dying and a dog that's tied up. Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, the dogs is here in the yard.
Okay. Thanks, ma'am.
At the back of the house, a black dog is crouched in the shade, alive but barely conscious.
So I got a dog that's very thin, it's very down.
Next to it, in the kennel, is a large burble, a South African breed related to the Mastiff.
I'd also be barking if I lived in a place like this. This is way too small. It's not been cleared unhygienic conditions. So, but this guy we need to take in now.
Kira's shocked by what she's seen here.
And the dog's really bad. That should have been taken to a vet long time ago. So we're going to take the dog now to the vet to have a check done, see what we can do for it, and confiscate the other dog as well. I'm not a vet, but I can definitely see that there is something wrong with the dog. I don't see any discharge or anything, but it has the shakes basically. His nose is dry. The gums are weak, so I mean you can just speculate really on what is wrong with the dog. Okay, come boy, come here, come here. Here we go. That's a good boy. That's a good boy.
The burble seems friendly.
No, I mean, it's a definite case of animal cruelty. I mean, the one is pretty thin and very weak, and then the other one live in unhygienic conditions. That's not like a day's feces. I mean, you can see the dog's in good nick and everything, but still, doesn't mean because the dog's in good nick, it needs to stay in like such hardy conditions.
Both dogs will go back to the SPCA, and the black dog needs to get there quickly.
Would you let them know that I put this in the warning in the warning in the post box? Okay, thanks. Okay, we have to rush back to the hospital now because the dog needs veterinary treatment immediately, so we're gonna have to rush off now.
At the hospital, Kira carries the black dog through to see vet Miles Penfold.
Okay, the dog that we're dealing with here, if we look at it, it's got like a light yellow tinge on the actual ears and a light yellow tinge on the gums. Most of what we see that causes this here is tick bite fever. When a dog gets to this place, his heart is slowing down, there's hardly any pulse. This dog is almost dead. There's actually nothing that I'm going to be able to do to pull this dog right. Another couple of hours it would have passed on. So it's already in severe shock, and pretty much I'm going to put this dog down under the Animal Protection Act.
Tick bite fever needs prompt treatment. When it has taken hold like this, humane euthanasia is the kindest option.
But this here is absolute denial of treatment. I would not hesitate to prosecute. Let me just give confirmation on that, because then you have a rock solid case.
This is a difficult part of the job. I mean, especially when you have people that they have animals, but they just don't care. They just don't care about it. There's more to it than just having a dog. There's more to it than just having a dog there to bark. You know, so. Yeah.
Kira will wait for tests to confirm what was wrong with the black dog. If it was tick bite fever, she'll want to know from the owners why it didn't get the treatment that could have saved its life. Adib brings the burble to see Miles. Thankfully, it's a different story with this one.
This guy's 100% better than the other dog. In fact, it's hard to think that they come out of the same yards. This guy's well looked after. He's definitely not malnourished. Looks like we might potentially have a lip granuloma there, but it can also just be that he's been lying on, or his bedding's been on a hard place, and that he has a habit of lying like this. That we'll only see with time. My guys will observe him if we see him licking, or it's a lip granuloma. If not, it's just a bit of a, like on the back here, you can see it's, if they lie on cement and stuff, then they get like little hard areas, and that's normally just from where they lie. They go out, they lie next to the wall on the cement, and then the skin gets a bit thickened. His heart and lungs and everything is fine. His teeth and everything have been absolutely great. So yeah, I mean, this guy is 100%. Very happy with him, and definitely not at all like the last one.
The dog's healthy, but Kira will want to talk to the owners about his living conditions. They have a lot of explaining to do.
Can I come in?
Senior Inspector James Murphy's on a rescue mission in the Parkwood district of Cape Town. A cat's fallen down the gap between two walls and it can't get out.
Is the cat in here?
Just show me.
Okay, so he's between that part and the other part.
The cat's been stuck for over 10 hours. It's likely to be traumatized, hungry and dehydrated.
There you are. We've got a cat down here that's somehow got himself stuck.
It's my daughter's cat, and she was attacked last night by a dog, and she ran for her life. So she was stuck there since last night, 12 o'clock, until this morning.
I think we can get him out, but he can't go that way.
And we actually tried to get him out, but in vain, so we called the SPCA.
See what I suspect it dropped from the top down. That's the only way I can think of it, because of the vibrokid slats, they blocking the cat behind it, so it couldn't have come from that way. So I'm thinking up is the only way out. I want to use the catch pole to hook the cat. My idea is to slide the pole down and hook it and pull the thing and then pull the cat up. It's not nice to hook a cat like this, but it's the only way to get it out. Yep, we got him. Come on, cat, just a little further up. Just a little further up. Okay. Oh, my head. Okay, we're a little thorough. Sorry, cat. Oh, kitty. I'm glad I got him so soon because he's being the confined space. You can't get the rope around the neck so easily.
Murphy wants to get the cat examined by the SPCA vets before she goes back to her owner, just in case she's been hurt by the dogs that chased her or by her fall.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the cat in, we have it checked out, and then they can call you and you can come collect it.
No problem.
Okay. But the cat looks fine. I think it's best just to check it out, just in case it's got some bite wounds. It might be internal injuries and things like that that you can't see. Okay, let's go and take it in and see the vet.
Back at the SPCA, vet George Birch can take a look at the cat.
She suspects the dog's bit the cat, which is a little concerned that it might have some internal injuries or something. There's nothing obvious on the outside.
So this happened last night?
Apparently like midnight or something, they heard this ruckus and it's possible it just kind of went along the wall and fell down. And
Let's see. Put it down. Just see if it's using all four of its legs. I can see it's using all four legs well.
yeah.
And it's quite alert and mobile. And I'm just gonna check the spine if there's any pain. Well, basically, I'm just feeling all over just to see this, or basically feel if there's any external injuries. If the animal is bitten by a dog, say for instance, what can happen, you don't necessarily get breaks in the skin, but you can get internal injuries. The cat's slightly dehydrated, the color is good, it's quite alert. I can't find any external injuries, so this bodes very well for the kitten. Otherwise, for this animal, basically we deworm anyway, and then sterilize it and send it home.
It looks like the cat has had a lucky escape. She'll be home before the end of the day.
Drive in, drive in. We're just moving in with a warrant.
Yesterday, Chief Inspector Andries Venter led a raid on the home of a man they suspected of operating as a vet, even though he was unqualified.
4A65, Sandoz diclofenac.
Rabies inoculations.
When they found quantities of illicit veterinary drugs, the man was arrested and charged.
Weird stuff went on, yeah. It may take some time to uncover more.
Today, he's been in court.
He was given a bail of 500 Rand and conditions was set that he's not allowed to come near or interfere with any of the animal welfare mobile clinics or organizations. And a further condition was set that he's not allowed to be in control of or own any animal until the investigation is finalized. The trial has been postponed for the next 6 weeks, when the full investigation hopefully will be presented to the prosecutor and court.
A lengthy investigation seems to be finally nearing its conclusion.
I feel very, very relieved in the way the investigation is going. I'm very happy with how it's panning out.
The court has ordered that the accused man can have no contact with animals until his case has been heard. So the SPCA inspectors are back at his property.
Let's do one animal type at a time so we don't have a mess.
We'll get you. What makes it much easier is because it's in an enclosed area. And we have a net. Can you nab him? Yes. Well done.
You got that on camera. I'm a male, I catch chicks.
The animals are going to the SPCA now. We're going to have them checked out by the vets, make sure if any of them are sick that they're going to be treated. Make sure that they get some nice food and water and stay in some nice clean environment.
It's the end of the afternoon, and Inspector Wilber Khenkebe is on his way back to base when an urgent call comes over his radio about 2 horses in trouble.
Stallions, by the signs of it, that had a fight. The one fell over and strangled itself because it was tethered. The other one, in trying to get to the other stallion, has gashed its eye open. That's pretty much the summary.
When Wilber arrives, he's taken to see the dead horse.
He said he was just running around and he just fall off and died. They don't know what he died from.
They say something seemed to send both horses crazy, and the one collapsed whilst the other has badly damaged its eye.
But they said this horse is also just go mad and run around and he hit itself there on this eye. And there's another wound here on his nose. I just asked them why they're not taking it in. They said they're waiting for the horse box.
The owners say they are going to take the horse to a horse specialist. Wilber believes them, but just to make sure, he issues a warning notice.
I'm gonna give you a warning note now. I'll just give you 12 hours, but you must try to rush, because that blood is gonna dry and it's gonna make it, it's not gonna be open, it's gonna be having infection.
The horse needs treatment as soon as possible. The woman is waiting for her husband to bring the horse box, and she promises they'll take it to a vet. Wilber will be back in the morning to make sure she's kept her promise. Inspector Wayne Hector has been helping Chief Inspector Venter gather evidence in the case of the man who was offering vet treatment despite being unqualified. Wayne has found witnesses who had their puppy's tail docked by the man. He's brought the pup in for vet George Birch to take a look at.
So just have a general look at the puppy. You can see it's quite a happy puppy. At this stage, it's not in pain. You can see this one is really quite playful. Okay. This is probably just the docking that was done. No anesthetic, no sutures. The big problem is, well, the whole tail is basically connected to the spinal cord. So if you were to chop this open, leave it open like that whole spinal cord and spinal column there is theoretically exposed to the outside wall. You can get infection, you can get ascending infections in here. I haven't seen it yet, but it is a theoretical complication which can probably be quite severe. I think what we need to do is just clean up the tail and start just with some antibiotics just as a safety measure. So, but this thing where owners or backyard veterinarians does work like this, it's I would say very, very unethical.
The South African Veterinary Council considers tail docking to be unethical, even if carried out by a vet.
Okay, this has been brought in as evidence that can link us to the suspect, where with the lady, the owner of this puppy, also confessed to me that she saw it happening and she's willing to put together a statement or affidavit signed by the police that can also link it to the case where the subject we apprehended, and to prove that he's done it and she saw him do it. And we're hoping to get a nice prosecution for this.
There's been an unexpected development in the case of the horse with the badly damaged eye. The owners have said their horse specialist advised them to take the animal to the SPCA. So now Inspector Wilber Khenkebe is bringing it in. Vet George Birch takes a look at the injured eye with stable master Tex Davey.
Does it look like a bang? Yeah, it does.
Well, it's got like a bang, on the rim here and on the side, so it probably some knock there. So.
The eyelid is too swollen for George to see how much harm has been done to the eye itself. If the cornea or lens has been cut, the eye could have to be removed.
See on the bone here and just to the side there's some skin missing there or some superficial abrasion. So that's probably just some kind of knock, and what you see happening there is
The conjunctiva, the inner tissue of the upper eyelid, is just protruding there, and that's just swelling, probably due to this trauma. So what we need to do is get the swelling down. Once we get the swelling down, we can just have a look at the rest of the eye there, see if there's any other damage.
I think what's probably happened is he's gone down and he's banged his head against something. He's been lodged somewhere, possibly in a corner or something. The reason why I'm saying that is looking at the injury to the eye. That's obviously a bang. Okay, there's no sharp object, so to speak. And this here shows me that he's been on especially here. He's been lying in this position, he's been thrashing. And obviously this is where he's done damage to the eye. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not 100% sure. It's quite traumatic for him. Once the swelling comes down, we'll be able to see a lot more.
It will take several hours for the inflammation to go down. Only then will they know whether the eye can be saved. The cat that was trapped between two walls before Senior Inspector James Murphy rescued her has been at home for 2 weeks now, fully recovered, and none the worse for her ordeal, much to the relief of her owners.
When the accident happened, the children actually started to cry when they saw that there was no way that we can get the cat out. So I was very, very worried, and they were also very worried. When I saw James taking the cat out, I was very relieved, and I could see the children was also relieved, because when I looked into Snowy's eyes, I could see she was very tired, and I actually thought she was dying. So I was very relieved when the cat was rescued. When she came back, she was very nervous, and she hid herself under the bed, and she ran for strange noises. If she heard dogs barking, then I just see she ran in suddenly. She's better now. She's very playful, and she's her old self. She's just a playful, happy cat. She loves to run around and chase the children around, and she's just happy now. She is very special to me and to the children because she has a soft spot in our hearts.
There are 93 SPCAs in South Africa, with rigorous national standards for the training of their inspectors. Trainee Inspector Moyo Makar has been at the Cape of Good Hope SPCA for 6 months now.
I've always been passionate about animals. It's just a conviction in me that in order for one to have an animal, you should have the time, the space, and the resources to look after the animal. So I've seen some horrific instances. You wouldn't believe that a human being can do such a thing to an animal. It's a bit shocking, and it's the stuff that makes you sick. And also it's a motivation for you, if you're working with animals, just to stamp out all the cruelty that might be going on.
Today, Moyo's received a plea for help.
We've received a call from a lady. She's worried. She says one of her dogs has just died, and she needs us to come and have a look at the other dogs because the other one is now lying, it's not eating, and it's breathing heavily. So it's the case that we're attending to. It seems a bit of an urgent attention is required. Hello?
The owner is an elderly woman, struggling to care for her dogs.
So what is this on his back? It's oil?
People say that thing can help.
Oil? That's car oil? Okay.
Motor oil is a common home remedy for ticks, but it can do more harm than good.
Are you able to treat the dog?
I like them.
You like them?
I like
okay.
dogs.
And where do your dogs live?
They just sleep. They go all over. They eat everything from other places.
Are you able to make a kennel for your dog?
Yes.
So that when it's raining, because as it is right now.
Sometimes they come inside the house. Sometimes.
No, but when you're not there in the house, where are the dogs going to sleep when it's raining?
Sometimes they sleep.
But that's a bit dangerous for them because I can see some nails here.
It becomes apparent to Moyo that not only can the woman not afford healthcare for the dogs, she's struggling to feed them.
Now I'm a pensioner. I used to buy food once a month.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I've got money, sometimes Mama next to give me something. Like, once there's funeral, there's bones.
Yeah. They need proper care, and you need to buy proper food for them. You might have the love to keep the dogs, But if your resources can't afford you to keep the dogs, it's unfair actually on the part of the dogs.
I wonder.
But then the best thing would be for you to surrender the dogs to us, and then we look for homes for them. There are people who can look after them.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you can't.
No.
But you want to, but you can't.
It's hard for me.
It's hard for you, yes. Yeah, but they need proper food. They need dog food. Although I believe that, to own a dog, it's not a right, but it's a privilege. You might have the love, but if you don't have the resources, I think it's cruel for the dogs. Because she's saying that if there is a funeral, then she's going to get the scraps. But funerals don't occur every day, and dogs can't rely on scraps. It's all right, buddy. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right, baby. It's all right. I'll take them to the SPCA and, and look for hopes for them.
Now, Wildlife Inspector Kira Joshua has an emergency on her hands.
We got a call about a small antelope species that's been knocked down out in Boertese. So, from what we got from the report now, it's bleeding quite profusely as well. So we need to try and capture it to take it in to have it treated. We're not quite sure how severe the injury is. What we are going to have to be wary about now as well is that because it's in a residential area, if it does give chase, it might go into the road and just get knocked over all over again.
The antelope, a daker, has taken refuge in the driveway of a house. Kira's brought Inspector Wayne Hector with her.
So we just need to set things up here quickly because he's standing up and he was lying down before. We don't want to get him to start running again because if he starts running, it's going to prove very difficult in trying to get him again. And stress is the biggest thing that is going to kill. So we're going to try and do this. Obviously, unfortunately, the dogs, because it's in a residential, is causing a big noise. And we need, the most important thing right now is not to stress this animal out. So, and we have to do everything quite quietly and that, so, yeah.
The local security guard was the one who first spotted the daker and called the SPCA.
The ideal situation is getting him into the box. So we need to approach from that side, hopefully goes this side, but we need to corner off that area. Okay.
The animals heard Kira. And he has his own plan.
Meneer, het jy 'n bokkie nie so gesien nou?
Ja, ek het gesien daai.
From which side did he come now?
In the shopping center. Shopping center.
The dakers made a dash for the local shopping centre.
He was in a shop.
Got it.
Whoa. Oh, brilliant.
The security guard has got there first and holds the daker still.
In my toolbox, right, there's socks, black socks. I just need to tie it around his eyes. Okay.
The blindfold will help keep the animal calm so that they can take him to the SPCA as quickly as possible.
Watch his horns, watch his legs. You have to guide him in gently over here. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Okay, got his legs. It's okay. There was a lot of blood, so we can only really check it out properly when we get back to the SPCA now.
Kira wants to get the daker examined by a vet. George Birch has been standing by.
What we'll try to do is just handle it as gingerly as possible and just try to control the legs, prevent the legs from kicking against any sides or anything like that.
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
was obviously quite strong still. The color appeared okay. The breathing was a bit slow, but I was quite happy there was no fluid in the lungs that one can hear. The only things that I did find was that obviously all the pads underneath the hooves, all the superficial horn was, or the superficial padding was lost there. But we did put some spray on there, which does have some antibacterial properties and which will help quite a lot. I couldn't feel any broken bones and it walked quite well at the end there, so we gave it anti-inflammatory and antibiotic. So I think those wounds will probably heal fine in nature. I think the best thing now for the animal probably is just not to be stressed.
A sedative has been administered, so Kira can't take the Dacre straight out to the wild. If he's still groggy, he'll be vulnerable to another accident or to attack by a predator. Meanwhile, Miles Penfold is taking a look at one of the dogs that trainee Inspector Moyo Makar persuaded the elderly woman to sign over.
This is definitely a dog that has been looked after at home, and you can definitely pick up a bit of mass over the back here, but pretty typical for a dog that's coming out of the area he's come out of. Just be having a look at the gums and checking capillary refill time. His teeth are really great. That's all looking quite okay. That's great. If we have a look on the back here, you can see that they've applied oil over the skin here. It's a bit of a home remedy that a lot of the people believe if you put used car oil over the coat, it's going to stop the ticks and fleas getting onto the dog. Fortunately, very little on this guy here, and it hasn't irritated the skin or anything. So it'll really be a case of just shampooing off the rest of this, and his coat will get back to normal from there. But certainly not something that we'd ever advocate. But yeah, we do see quite a few people tend to think that car oil will cure almost anything. Clinically, this dog is really great. The only sort of downside to him is that he is quite a nervous dog. And we'll send him over to kennels, and the behaviouralist will be able to assess his sort of social skills from there.
It might take some work to prepare this dog for a new home, but the adoptions department will give him the time and attention he needs. It's been 6 weeks since the man alleged to have been carrying out illegal veterinary work was arrested and charged. He's back in court today, and Chief Inspector Andries Venter is feeling optimistic.
I'm confident that we have a case, and I'm confident that the evidence will speak for itself once it's properly followed up by the police.
Unfortunately, Venter's confidence seems to have been misplaced, for today at least. The case has been postponed again because the prosecutors and investigating police officers didn't have all the papers prepared.
It was very frustrating in court this morning. They're not sure under which act the charges would actually fall. And the investigation has not been completed at all. So, yeah, it's been remanded for a final appearance where we will then hopefully have consulted with the investigating officer and everyone involved, and the evidence would have been presented.
It looks like Andries will have to wait a while longer for the result he'd been hoping for.
It's very down.
It's been more than 2 months since Senior Inspector Kira Joshua found a black dog close to death in Ocean View, next to the cramped and dirty kennel of a large burble.
This is way too small.
The owners contacted the SPCA and said the black dog was a stray that had wandered into their yard, and the neighbours confirmed this story. But the owners admitted they weren't caring for the burble properly, and they surrendered him to the SPCA. The adoptions unit looked far and wide to find the right home for the dog, and eventually found Anne-Marie Ellis. Anne-Marie already has a burble amongst her dogs, and plenty of space for them all to run around in.
Most of the animals that I have here, they're all adopted, and they've all had a bad history. And I think when they come to a place like this, they can somehow feel that it's okay here. They don't have to worry about anything. Oh, these two love each other. Give us a show of your playfulness. Come. They play so nicely together. A lot of people don't like Boerboels because they say they're dangerous to have around children and so forth. And I've never found that. I think that you make a dog. The type of person you are, and the treatment and love that you give your animal, that goes through to them. Can you believe such a big dog can be so gentle? I mean, he thinks he's a little puppy. And when he jumps up onto you, you just about land on your back. He has no idea of his strength whatsoever. I don't know, he's just a little big boy. Last night he had his first taste of lying on my bed already, so there you are. I think he's found his home.
The dog from Langer is ready to have his suitability for adoption assessed by SPCA behaviour expert Candice de Villiers.
This is a real Afrikaner, a real crossbreed. Probably has some German Shepherd in him, some Hound. We're going to do sociability sitting, just to see his interaction with the human sitting, taking a seat on the chair. He's interested in the human, actually interested in some attention. Okay, the next step we're going to go over to doing the ball, see if he knows how to play with the ball. He's got no idea what a ball is. We're going to utilize the food bowl and also just see if he's a little bit of a resource guarder, indicate if a child had to go and stick their hands in there while he was eating, just to see how his reaction would be. He's very happy to share his food. With him, I would certainly advise training for him. So he needs a little bit of work. He certainly needs some confidence as well. He's uncertain of certain things, of certain behaviors, how to respond, how to react. So we would need to pay him some attention and teach him some skills.
The small antelope or daker that Wildlife Inspector Kira Joshua brought in yesterday has spent the night at the SPCA, recovering after being hit by a car. Fortunately, there seems to have been no serious damage done, and the vets have told Kira she can take him back into the wild.
We'll try and recapture him all over again, to put him in the box so we can transport him to take him through to a nature reserve where we're going to release him. Because the vet has checked him out and that, he's quite active. So, I mean, he seems to be good for release. Hold it for me.
He's going to keep it down. Wait, he's going to run there. Okay. Close it. Close. I got him. Oh,
okay.
All right.
Okay. Wait.
Let's do it quickly.
1, 2, 3, go.
This time, they can't sedate the daker, as he needs to be alert when he's released. So getting him into the transport box is a tricky operation.
Just gave him 2 injections. One was antibiotic, another one was an anti-inflammatory. The reason why we don't sedate him now is because we're going to release him now. And we don't want him dopey when we release him, because he needs to be aware. If he is in any other danger, he needs to still be aware and awake so he can take flight if need be.
Kira's found a release site well away from passing traffic, in the Rietvlei Wetland Reserve.
You ready?
Go that way.
The reason why it's called a daker, daker is actually Afrikaans. The reason why why it got its name is because as soon as it sees people or any form of danger, it just dives into the bush. And dive is the English translation, really, of daker. The reason why we released it here is in the same area, so to say, of where we got it. It's in a nature reserve, it's a protected area. So, and the unfortunate thing, I mean, where we live in, it is going to be surrounded by houses and, well, residential areas and that. But the area that we're in now, it is enclosed, so it's more of like a safe haven, so to say, for now.
The horse, whose eye was bleeding and swollen, has been at the SPCA for 3 days, and stable master Tex Davey is delighted with his recovery.
It was very superficial, fortunately. Okay, there was no interior damage to the eye. There was the exterior of the top eyelid. There was actually a slight split there, so it looked a lot worse than it actually was. Obviously, with the injury of this type, you get a lot of swelling. So it's predominantly a lot of swelling that took place there. Today, yes, today he can go home. The owners have been in to see me. I have discussed it with them, so I'm quite happy that he can be released.
Inspector Wilber Khenkebe returns the pony to his grateful owners.
Worried a lot here. Didn't know it will be able to come like this now. Thanks a lot to the SPCA for helping us. This is the community's horses, because when it's like matric balls and proms for the children here at the primary school, we drive with the horses and stuff like that. That's why the community, I like this one. Yeah, happy with this one. Thanks a lot.